Hello and welcome to 8 Minutes to Live. I recently hiked the New Mexico high point, which is Wheeler Peak, and I had uploaded my summit photo up to the Instagram page, but I figured I'd share the rest of the footage I got, tell a little bit of the story behind this. Just a couple quick facts. The weather was about 5 to 10 miles an hour of wind, low teens. That's what I expected at the summit. I mentioned gear a little bit. And then you also hear a distinct crunch in one of the videos. That's just because I was already in snowshoes and the top layer was iced. By the end of the day, that ice was gone, though. This was my second attempt up Wheeler Peak. The first one obviously didn't make it. I slept at 7,000 feet, so for this one I adjusted that to 9,300. And I credit that, plus some hiking in the weeks before, to really helping me succeed on this. So let's see how it goes.
Williams Lake Trailhead to Wheeler Peak, New Mexico, high point. Probably a little over equipped, got my heavy thermal layer and as well as the snowshoes and micro spikes and axe, but the last trail post said it was pretty snowy up there. It's a day hike, so it's still not too much weight. We'll see how it goes. About a half hour in. The last post on all trails was 3 days ago. And if you look at the tracks right here, that looks like about 3 days. Mountain forecast said they got 1.6 inches of snow last night and into this morning at the summit, so we'll clearly didn't get that here. Definitely the big recommendation right away is this is a flotation required hike. It may have been colder a couple days ago, but I post-holed right away, so I slapped on the snowshoes. Glad I brought them.
This is Williams Lake, 2.1 miles from the trailhead. It's just over 11,000 feet. Fantastic hike on its own. Would recommend. Also happens to be as far as I got on my first attempt. The altitude was really hitting me hard on that. It's not technically on the summit trail, but it's only about 0.1 miles past the intersection, so worth it. And if you start at 6 or so, like I did, then it's a nice stopping point.
So this is what I'm working with. Thought I was on the trail. Right there, you can see somebody just cut up. Oh, my hand's taking the focus. You can see somebody just cut up, and the trail is really distinct up above, but the trail really goes over here.
So now I've completed the ridge, definitely the steepest part of the climb. So in this view, we're looking north. Williams Lake is at the lower left, and you can see the snow-capped paths up just left to center there, where they care for all the skiing there. Tahoe Ski Valley is down in the center. Gold Hill is what's above and beyond. Really just makes you stop in your tracks, especially since there's all the altitude. So good excuse to catch your breath too while you're at it. So what you see here are my ascent stats on the left. Unfortunately, I did not get stats for the descent, but we can see I was not my fastest. Definitely an impact from not hiking a ton. And the altitude, I let this run the entire time, including all stops and all of the times you're going off trail like I was to Williams Lake. I leave that on to get an overall view of my speed, and hopefully that improves as I hike more towards the summer. In the middle, you've got some stats, and that oxygen level, that 12.7 is of course from the 20.9 that you get at sea level. And then the picture on the right I just thought was fun display of the pressure difference. Clearly that granola bar on the left is your sealed one. You can just see it expand just like you get on an airplane. So I thought that was fun. So some lessons learned from my Wheeler Peak summit into goods and others. Good would be the route planning. I definitely gained by looking at the trailhead, and looking at the weather and looking at the snow conditions And really, by sleeping at a higher altitude, that's going to be a huge factor. Second good would be perseverance. I knew there would be snow, and so I had the snowshoes and the other required gear, and I did not let the post holing and the challenges in route finding dissuade me from eventually summiting. So that was definitely a strong suit. And I would say route finding is another. The snow obscured the trail. People would be cutting switchbacks. And so when balancing whether you follow where other people went or if you follow where your All Trails GPS says the trail is, and so if you go on the GPS, you have to trailblaze. If you cut switchbacks, that's not good for the mountain. So that's definitely in the other category. Another small other is I brought too many thermal layers. I had the heavy fleece that I didn't need, and I'm always the one saying that if you're not cold at the trailhead, then you are going to be too hot once you get moving. And I just didn't really follow my own advice on that. So, lesson learned. Thanks for watching. That is my recap of Wheeler Peak in New Mexico, knocking off high point number 33. Going to be a lot more hiking coming up this summer. Get YouTube videos here, also on Instagram and Facebook at 8 Minutes to Live. If there's parts you thought were exciting, let me know. If there's parts you thought were boring, let me know. Definitely welcome all comments and critiques. I want it to feel like you're here with me, thinking through all the same considerations, getting those same fantastic views. And I'm sure I'll get stuck in some miserable clouds at some point too. But go out there, pursue adventures, and then follow and like this so you can see more of it as I go along.